My name is Bobbie Jean Smith. I grew up in Ames, Iowa. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
You want to look at me?
What?
What do you want, like?
And
Okay.
I
Do the background.
was in gymnastics until I had a love affair with dance. And then I went to the Royal Winnipeg Ballet School at 11, got kicked out, went to North Carolina School of the Arts for contemporary dance, finished high school there, went to Juilliard, left Juilliard to go to Batsheva. I was in Batsheva for 10 years, moved back, and now I've been here. In that period there, I've also been at Sleep No More with this amazing woman and making my own work and teaching.
And so, Stefanie Batten Bland, and grew up in Soho, old Soho before the Capitals and all of that, and got kicked out with all the other artists while we became Soho with Caps. And we moved to Los Angeles. I went to junior high and high school out there. Got into dance because I didn't know what else to get into, and I didn't correspond to anything. And I knew that there was something that I liked about it, and so I wanted to follow the people that I thought were really amazing, and they all went to the arts high school out there. So I went to the arts high school out there and did some programs because it was clear that I was a really big mess and needed to, catch up to most people that had begun this journey at a very young age. And went to a lot of places and got what I needed. Went to SUNY Purchase, left in my second year or third year, and started dancing for Bill T. Jones and Sean Curran. Rather, Sean Curran, and then Bill took me from Sean. And then I left Bill and went to Pina. And then I stayed in Europe after guesting with her and did stuff for Lara Lubovitch, came back, did stuff for Lara Lubovitch, went back, stayed in Europe until 2011, and various different kinds of companies, mostly dance theater companies and physical theater companies, and then totally by accident I ended up being like the head choreographer of a huge musical about Josephine Baker for the Paris Opera. And then Baryshnikov got word that I was coming back, and I knew him from when I was a little baby dancer, and through a lot of series of amazing fellowships, I started moving back here and started getting to know the States again. Met Punch Drunk. That kind of helped me get back into like the way of the States, even though they're not really American at all. So that was kind of comforting because it corresponded a bit more with what I was used to as well, on some level. And started making stuff that started to do really well as well. And I guess just with life, you sort of just listen to what the current is offering and you know when to jump in the stream or not. So now here I am.
appropriated or misdefined or miscategorized at all? And also, like, in the same realm, like, how do you take ownership of this public image of your body as, like, in the physical sense or artistic ownership?
I haven't found that at all. So, I mean, if I don't agree with something, I could care less what's out there. Whatever's out there is just out there. It's more in work environments, if I disagree with what's going on, then that has to just be addressed. I mean, You know, I mean, you know your self-value, right? So I mean, as soon as you know the value of yourself, then that's just not a problem. I notice we talk about that a lot here in the States. Yeah, it's like that you just nip that immediately if you're not comfortable or if something is inappropriate or, oh yeah. No, I haven't found that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that kind of comes close to it is I do a lot of my work naked, and so some photos on Instagram are, you can see my boobs, and then my parents see them, and I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just accessing the people that are going to be interested in that, and it's going to reach the people I want to have a conversation about that kind of stuff with. And then all of a sudden, you know, Bobbie, we heard that, and they're not even on Instagram. What are your cousins going to say? Now they can't even follow you on Instagram because you're naked. What are we going to tell them? And it's like, well, then don't follow me. And I mean, that was kind of the closest I've come to feeling ashamed or that it wasn't taken in the right way as I had hoped for. So that, yeah.
Yeah, the parents, that's really something when that's, yeah. I remember the first time my parents saw me perform nude, and I mean, they're also both artists, so in a way it was sort of just like at some point we were going to come to that juncture and we all knew it. And, you know, and I remember my dad just, I mean, my mom, you know, it's not a problem at all. And it wasn't for him either. It was more like, well, that was, I think that was supposed to be successfully constructed. At least you were up there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, you know, I mean, you get to that point. Yeah, sure.
How has the transition been coming from overseas back to the States, like the native country, especially in the process of discovering your own work, like going from like performer to choreographer to like all of the transitions?
Ooh. You know, I know it was, what was probably shocking to me is I forgot how we compartmentalize everything over here. And I had been so living a full pie life, where there was just life, and I happened to be this, and I happened to do that, and I happened to have plants and a cat and a family and all of this. And I forgot that how we like to assign time and age validity and what you do with that, and those all mean something here, of course, because of how we socially, economically drive the arts, right? So I get why that happens here. And it was just, I just don't have any energy for it. I mean, if I'm able to do what I'm able to do since I've been able to come home, it's because I really lived the majority of my career was in extremely wonderful health with wonderful pay, and I was going to come back, and that was the only way I was going to live if I was going to live here again. So I just made sure that that's always what happens. And I'm just, it was fascinating to realize that lunch was still so difficult to come by or to talk about, or that people still weren't able to speak or clearly about the wages they should be awarded or what they should be earning. That was funny because, I mean, like, that was the issue in 2000, and that was funny to me that that was still an issue. And it seemed it was actually worse, which was fascinating, especially for this city, which is like the beast city. I didn't quite understand that. So I think I remember, and still am, had to learn the system, had to learn the game, especially New York's game, because it's a real stuck-up game, and it's really, they want you to play by their rules, you know. And I did not correspond to those at all, but yet here I was swimming in the pool. I just didn't come in through the stairs. So, but I was in the damn pool, and I was doing a little more than treading, so we were all just gonna have to get along a little bit. in the end, I think as long as I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and feel comfortable and know that I'm doing the best that I can that day, then I'm okay with everything. And I don't hide anything. I know that was definitely a thing of the past, or of my past teachers, or of my past choreos, watching them have to segment family life and work life. And it's just like, but it's just life. I just don't even understand this separation. It just means absolutely nothing. So that was kind of neat, just being like, well, you're missing the family budget line for the tour. I mean, every other country has a family budget line. So, I mean, sometimes you have to just help progress come along. You know? It's been neat. It's been neat.
It's been really difficult. I think I'll know more in 5 years. And, you know, it's like, it's a big learning lesson, and yielding to appreciating what you have when you have it. And really trying to be total where you are. And, you know, I think I romanticized this idea of home. And I'm living abroad. And when I go back home, you know, I'll repair all those relationships that got busted up, or
they just aren't there anymore,
yeah.
man. I mean, like,
I mean, it's not the same place.
Yeah.
I mean, or you're not the same, or it's also been a large transition from, you know, being dancing every day and having that input every day to then teaching every day. And what does that do? What's that doing? But I also feel like it was something I had to do, and it was extremely important for me to be able to share what happened, or what I learned, or like what I came back carrying to people that like we're from the same place. Like, I know that sounds really cheesy, but to share what I learned out overseas, back home, because I mean that's like how we share things. And so that's also been really interesting, how it comes back then, and how you're seen different, and and then you miss home over there. So then all of a sudden you're like abroad at home. So I think it's still happening.
so true. Yeah.
Will you speak a little bit about how environment plays into your thought process when you're building a new work? So whether the environment is like the stage you'll perform on, if it's the typical theater stage, or the ground, or even like the rehearsal space, and how that influences what you can do, or just things like that. I'm curious.
I guess I could speak to space, because each piece is each piece, and each piece kind of tells me what it's supposed to be if I'm open to hearing it. But I do feel, I do enjoy space. It's probably the element that I love the most, because in our work, I love that we have to confront problems in the right now, and doing that in space, those solutions are seen. So the work gets to be in the work, and I just enjoy that so much. I love changing our relationships to spaces, because I do think we allow ourselves to be controlled by spaces in a certain way, and so it means a lot to me, especially in teaching. Part of my teaching is about changing how you are in space and reminding you of your authority in space, or rather your equality to the space, rather than adhering to a particular way of being in a room in particular, or what the classroom does to the body, as opposed to what you know, lying on the grass does to the body as opposed to being on the beach does to the body. Yeah, and so we put a lot of definitions on ourselves in terms of that. In terms of pieces or creating it, then it really just, it depends on the subject matter and what that work is about, and then I better know. I think you brought up in terms of like the spaces that you would play in, well then it goes into a lot of other things, like is it a commission, are you making it, what do the presenters need, you know, I mean these are like a million different points of views. I tend to try to make like malleable modules so that everything that I make, especially since I'm a post-recession maker, right, and the big box budgets are just so different now and you've got to compete with the different types of budgets, it's important that everything can be offered in all types of ways and spaces so that they can be consumed or participated, you know, in. But they're different, and each one is different, and each one's really valid too, right? So without ignoring any way of consuming theater or art, it's more so, well, what's right for your people, and what gift can I bring to that space so that we can all get something out of this the right way.
Agreed. No, it's like it's different every time, whether the piece needs to be an installation, whether it needs to be on cement or in someone's kitchen, or it's just different every time. I think I know my ideal places that I would love my work. I love to be on the same level as the audience, or that they're higher, but that can't always be, and so.
Right, you're not going to say no to Théâtre de la Ville or something, right?
Also, I think that I have a tendency to think like wherever I am, it's like I'm going to have to be here forever. And it's like, okay, cool, we got this. Well, we have these lights, clock. This is okay, we can hang out here forever. This is what we have. And so it's kind of like, I feel like that in the spaces, in the work that I make. It's like, well, this is what we got, we're going to make the most out of it.
Maybe in 47 years or 53 or 62 years, I'll be able to answer that better. I'd say, man, right now. So they're definitely like creative realities for sure. And I think that's neat to our time. I think we are encouraged as much to be the commission maker, sending the elevator back down, let's say in more conservatories or educational institutions, as well as making things on, you know, on folks, right, on the pro folks as well. I'm sorry, it's just really, it's a special temperature in this place. Then when it's your people, you know, and if it's an idea, well, how is that idea able to happen? I mean, it had to come also from a different type of commission, or, you know, stuff that you fund yourself and you just work on and you're just looking at. I don't necessarily have one that I love. I love any time the phone rings, and I love any time someone writes me back. So it's more like what gets them to open up that door. And it's, I mean, there's definitely like the vetting, putting in the time, whatever that time is. To me, it sort of felt like, I sort of felt like it was really 3 years until I was home, that people were sure that I wasn't sleeping with this person or this person, right? Because you don't forget we're the women, okay? So like, let's just dump on the crap. Now that you've dumped that on, now you can say, okay, so I didn't sleep with this one or this one, and great, so now you have to look at the work. Okay, so now if we're just gonna look at the work, now we can finally get there, but that takes like a couple of years to just get in past that crap, right? And then it's, it's kind of phenomenal, the song and dance of it. And I get more so that occurs because people are just trying to protect their territories and the so few resources that exist. And it's like, I don't know if I've ever been accepted, you know, but it's been quite lovely when the thing just comes down, the protective barrier just comes down, and I think we all see that we're just working towards bettering something or making something accessible or allowing us to feel like we're a part of something. And then it seems the boundaries kind of come down a little bit. I mean, even as a performer, the audition process doesn't stop. It's the same one. It's a different way of auditioning. You're still trying. The rejection is still present, and sometimes there's acceptance too, and that's great too. What works? I don't know the right formula or anything like that. I will just say that thanks to what one can do when they're commissioning and are being commissioned, there's a lot of data or a lot of product there that eventually does get reverted back to you in terms of the rights, how long it's been licensed out and stuff like that. And then, wow, then there's some stuff that you've really thoroughly looked at that you've got to play with, and now you can play with your team. And a lot of stepping stones have been addressed in this initial research that was perhaps a commission. Some time perhaps was saved, even though your team is totally different, and you might approach the problem from a totally different perspective. Still, there was some familiarity with the subject, and that's I found very helpful in the American way of working, where things have to be done within like a 4-week time span versus like the 1.5-year time span. You know, it's failure rate and success of next product is a very different reality here than it is abroad, even though that's radically changing as well. So, you know, it's not like it's all daisies over there at all. But I do enjoy that. I do enjoy like working things out on different people and slipping into their skins and figuring out their needs, and then getting to play with my gang as well and seeing our needs and what I've learned and moving it around. I love that part of it.
I think that I'm really at the beginning. Like I think like really at the beginning. So you know, like just to be honest with you guys, like I really haven't had any commissions, or everything I've done has been self-produced, and you know, so because of that, it's like I always work either with myself and someone else, or just on myself, because that's like what I need to do right now. I won't work with people for free, so that's what needs to happen. So we'll make that happen, and that's also an amazing chance for me to develop my voice more and to dig into things before, say, like having a larger group. And this is an amazing opportunity now for me to have like more people to work with and more bodies and minds in the room. And so I feel very lucky for that. But until maybe 10 years, until 10 years will pass, 'cause, right? You gotta do something for 10 years until it starts to feed itself. No?
3.
3?
It's gonna be
Okay, 3.
3.
Sure. I'll take 3. Yeah.
I feel like we were also a part of, you know, like even though, you know, there's all kinds of things. But I also think like where we were, I feel like there was a lot of support from the folks over, you know, in Punch Drunk's world too. I mean, like, you know, here are the shows that normally they need you a certain amount of time, all the time, at that time, and we were allotted, I feel, a lot of liberties in terms of like needing time to do our own projects, to do our own things, and that was very helpful also in helping me like reestablish American roots and freedom as well, you know.
It's a loose-ended term, the choreographic process, but I guess what that means to you and to your
I'm really into distilling things. And so I feel like a bit like I go digging or fishing. And I think it's, I love those beginning weeks of creation when it's like, it feels like everyone you've ever met and everyone is in the room with you. And then slowly they start to disappear. And then you're alone. And I'm scared shitless of that place, but I crave it like a long lost twin or something. But I crave that loneliness inside of an idea and inside of a world that gets made inside of a piece. And I want that, I look for that alone place where, it's like everything's there, vacuum. So I feel like.
I think there's also magic that's going on. We're making art. To me, there's also this thing that's magical that I don't know that can be explained. I think there's all of the techniques and all of these things we can get into, but the thing that happens is because it was supposed to happen, and I'm very aware that that if I'm listening and if I just listen, it will be right. And if I just follow the arc, I'll be right, of that. I haven't found yet that I have a consistent way of making. It has been very different for each thing, and also like what framework or format it is too. If it's going to be a film or if it's going to be, space, etc. But more than anything, it's the people, and it's finding the people and the team that is right for the piece, and that can change radically as well, because if the people aren't right, I can't do a damn thing, because I can't do any of this alone. I see worlds. And when I see the worlds, I see where we are, what we're doing, why we're there. And I mean, like a lot of times I see those are in dreams. And I just know, oh, I'm supposed to listen to that one. Well, I don't know if I got you there.
So, I don't know. You were talking about how, your visions as choreographers are sort of how you connect to your own work. And I'm wondering how you connect that to the outside world in the context of the whole dance scene. How do you see yourselves within the bigger world?
I don't know if I think like that.
Yeah, I don't think that it's I don't think it's an artist's job to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're too conscious of it and trying to be aware, I honestly don't know the trends. And I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
I'm probably way behind. I'd love you to, I heard of the dab and stuff, and I'm more interested, right? Is that the dab? I'm more, I don't know, it's they dance, 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 bam. Dance, 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 bam. Saw that at a baseball game. But, right? Is that a trend? I don't know.
And I think you know where you.
I
I
think-
get like. Sorry, baby.
It's like about.
I guess I always thought like choreographers. I don't know. I always thought that there's a language that you converse with amongst the community, like technique-wise, and like what drives the movements that you make, like other than.
Well, that's a different question.
That's a different
Oh,
question.
That's
Yeah,
a different
that's
question.
like right. So then that's just why do I make, or like why do I have to do that? And that's just like because I don't have another choice.
Yeah, no, but not why you make, but like why the specific movement that you make is what it is.
Oh, I wish I knew.
I don't know.
I wish I knew, man. Yeah, I don't.
I think that I'm trying to think, because I know that I have things that keep coming back. You know, like I have my mountains. I put my mountains in every piece. I have my anchors. I have my islands. I have these like symbols for myself that are metaphors for a lot of different things. So a lot of that stuff comes up physically, and that informs emotionally, or so trying to create that sense of like that poetry, for me, that creates the movement, or trying to work with that, and then just like digging into pure physicality and enjoying the effort inside of that, and that like that the action inside of it, inside of the task, and less the decoration around it. Is that something to go?
It's kind of offshooting the fact that you responded, I don't think that's an artist's job. So I think, like, we just graduated as grad students, and both of us have been in New York, and then we went to grad school and then came back out. And so I think a difficult thing for us to reconcile is, like, we have so many hats now that aren't an artist's job. And, like, we're choreographing, we're directing, some of us are dancing our own work, business manager, accountant, all these things that when I explain to other people who are in other fields, they're like, that's crazy. So how do you reconcile that and like having enough space to really be artistically creative, and like, do you think that's sustainable, or is there something in your mind that's like, eventually I'm gonna get my team to do these other things?
That's really interesting. Remember that compartmental. I just don't think of life like that. It's. Of course, I wear all of these hats.
I just think it's difficult because it's kind of a given in our field, which is specific to the arts in the States, I think. You know, like I grew up in a different country, and I traveled to Europe, and I feel like it's a little bit different here, where it's like, yeah, people self-produce, like that's the overwhelming majority, and other cultures are like, yeah, we have a structure for that.
If you correspond to that structure, I mean, I self-produced in Europe. That was just
But I think
totally
that,
normal.
Like, the option to
But-
have that is not a business mindset, or we didn't have that training, or like not everyone is as good at everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think like, you know, I've been trying to wear all the hats, and it's coming to a place that I'm not so good at them. I'm not so good at all that stuff. I'm actually pretty bad.
Yeah.
And
Like I feel
no, and I don't mean
love
that.
some like honest conversation about it.
And one time I was joking, like a year ago, I was like, I didn't know that being an artist meant I had to like post something on Facebook every day. Wow, okay. Yeah, or like that strategy. And I think I'm just learning now, like ask for help. Try to find people that actually that is what they're good at. Ask for help. Like and to like share your vision and because you know like maybe what you're not good at is someone's passion, and they would love to help out. Or I'm learning how to do that slowly, but ask for help.
I was just going to say, I watched my parents who were both artists, and so this was very normal, the multitude of things that they did, because they were better than their agent. They were better. The networking that they did was through their connections, but they didn't write their contracts. You know, I mean, of course, you know, no. I mean, for sure, I'm not an accountant. I would never. I just know that I would never do anything for less than this, and I would never expect anyone to work with me for less than this. You know. So yeah, I mean, I seek out people with whom I can work, whether that be in a voluntary way or in a in a remunerative way, so that can be accomplished. But as long as I'm working towards the goal, then I feel like those things, you just make that happen. And that's just a part of it. Yeah.
And I think and that constant like conversation with yourself is like, is this hurting my work? Am I putting on too many hats that actually my creative process is not growing the roots that it actually needs to grow, because I'm trying to spread so thin and trying to get so many things done and happening. It's like, is the actual work suffering? And I think you can really ask yourself that and be honest about it.
I actually think some things even got easier. I mean, kind of, who was asking about social media earlier on? It's like, I would watch my mom write thousands of handwritten letters to editors, or type them. The amount of time that took, when all I have to do now is do this, and I'm done. And I think that's amazing, the time that's saved. And I've been actually trying to teach her how she can just do that with a quote or with a thing or something, and how all of those editorial presses are actually looking for the number of followers, et cetera, you know, and just educating her in that round. I mean, but that same like the publicity side of that, for example, you know, it has always been a hat that I think that you've always had to wear, because it's you. I mean, you are the product. You know, you are the small business. You are that person. You know.
I think that this is a problem that's more experienced in the US than it is abroad, but how do you approach being taken seriously as an artist, even like in the context of like family members, or in a world where pursuing arts as a career is kind of seen as silly or
Go all in, and nobody will doubt you.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to self-value. I feel like if I'm going to buy a car, I have the same right to buy the car as this person next to me, and I'm going to buy that car. So I'm not. This is just what I am. There isn't any. There's no B track. Like, this is it. So you know, you don't have to come over for dinner. You know, and you don't have to like the page. You don't have to send me. You know, our children don't have to play together. It's okay. It's okay. It takes everybody to make a world in that sense. I don't want to just hang out with dancers. I don't want to hang out with artists. But I do. As much as the accountant has the right to buy the house, so will I, and so do I, and so I have, and I will make sure that happens. I think it's just, this is it. Oh, I got excited there. The house. The house.
I was talking to Carol Armitage, and I interviewed her for a paper last year, and
I mean, I'm a woman. This is just tilted from the get. I'm not just talking about dance, though. I mean, I'm just talking about life. So it's it's a whole pie, and that's cool. As long, you know, I mean, I appreciate that I wasn't brought up to feel that way, but to have been made aware of it constantly. Also, I'm not all white, and there's lots of other things going on in there too. So I mean, of course there is. I mean, but with it's not just dance, it's with everything. So that's just another compartment in the pie of life.
Do you have any solutions as to how we could just make that different in the dance world? Maybe more women who are curators, presenters?
Sure, I think we just need to grow our daughters up to know that they can do everything and encourage them to be able to do that. It's not, for me, it's not the top down, it's the bottom up that makes those changes, and I think they are happening. I think they're happening consistently. We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of years of a way of thinking that is suddenly radically changed already a lot now. I mean, even I feel like from when I was a dancer coming into the world, I see a lot more of things I didn't see as a young person. Yeah.
I definitely feel I feel it, and I think that I try not to believe it, if that makes any sense. Like I kind of, it's like, because I know between us women, sorry guys, like we have so much strength, and we have like, we give life, and we like make babies, and like, and I don't want to play the card of like, it's not even. I just want to keep working my fucking ass off until it is even. And I feel like, because any time that I start to think that, I get down, and I'm like, you know, and I don't want to create art from that place. I don't want to watch art from that place, and I want to appreciate everyone for what they have, and if it's good, it's good. And I want the women, especially in the dance world, because that's the world that we're trying to make, that I am encountering the most. And I want us to enjoy the fact that we can be so strong and fragile at the same time. And we can be, and I think like if we start like that and ignite our engines more, and not be scared to be strong and delicate and explosive and silly and charismatic, and all of those colors, to let them out, I think that it can echo in big ways.
And I think that's really different from when I was a younger person. I don't recall women being encouraged to share information in the same way. I wasn't necessarily seeing, like, I'll be the first one to start screaming out, you know, pay wages and how it needs to, this needs to go up, and it's like sharing the information is the only way we can all rise. Communicating. But I agree. I feel like when I was younger, I felt a chip on maybe some of my professors' shoulders that I don't feel at all. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm aware of the crap, you know, that's great. Everybody needs crap. But I don't feel the weight that I think a lot of the women that went through it of a different era went through. I think we have our own things that we're getting through, and we're helping charge forward as well. But again, I think yeah.
Can you, on kind of that same vein, talk about, as female artists, if you feel like you have responsibility to use your
I feel that what drives me, I have no idea what piece will be, but that my honor and duty is to that, and then how I interact with what's going on in life or a current event or something like that. That's me doing that. It might be through the work, but I don't feel an obligation to anything other than the magic that I'm supposed to make at that time, and what that will do, I believe, will partake in something the way it's supposed to. But it's not what drives me, and I don't feel a duty. I feel a duty towards bettering life. So I guess in a way that's there, but in a wholer, a more holistic perhaps way than, yeah.
I feel more, I feel a weight and a responsibility, not in a way of burden, but in a way that excites me to create work from a honest and brave place, and that exposes instead of withholds. And I think that, you know, I feel like a lot of my work deals with like the human condition and all of those similarities that we all have, and trying to dig into that. But I think that also, you know, like the human condition echoes and actions echo into much bigger things too. Mm-hmm. You know, like even if someone's sitting there and someone is pushing them down, it's like, well, that's happening in a lot of other places too. But that's happening also in like on a smaller scale, and how finding those small scales between people can then also, yeah.
There it is. I don't do well with cause-specific work, because I do feel it's one of the reasons our work doesn't export well out of the country. I don't think we think of including other people. We can definitely talk about any kind of subject matter, but I think that's an excellent example of just pushing someone down. It can be comprehended anywhere. And that's the beauty of it. And if we can see that the nuclear problem and then also be able to address something in a broader sense, well, now we're talking about a much larger platform that we can be participating in and speaking with. And then that's just only going to encourage whatever the dialogue is through work, through people being a part of something. Then that means a bunch of people were together at a certain hour, all in the same place together. Now that's very special.
Kind of talking about cause and subject matter, do you feel confined in any way to being here in an academic environment? Do you feel like it's kind of guiding what you're talking about, or do you feel like you can't talk about, like, do these walls, not necessarily Tisch, but as a director at Tisch, but do these walls mean are they confining what you have to say or what you're choosing to talk about with your new works?
No. I felt amazing coming to NYU. The walls are very nice. No, it's just I felt very free and supported in a really I think special way compared to some other institutions. I felt a lot more openness and air to. Yeah.
I remember the first time I worked in a university, and I wasn't aware of all the PC way of speaking, and that everybody has the right to be a dancer and all of this kind of stuff. And I was just like, wow, we've got a whole new American body we're dealing with today. And then I was pulled aside and I was told I was not allowed to say things like that. And I was like, but aren't you just ripping off these people's money actually? Because how many of them are actually going to make it? And is that not a disservice to the torture or the the self-reflection that people are going to actually go through as a result of consistent failure due to the type of market that they were aiming them to get jobs in, right? I just felt I was just a part of a really extraordinary lie. So I just kind of tried to bring up conversations in such a way so people would be open to questioning the reality of the market that they were pushing towards. I'll say it like that, right? I've never, and then I totally had to respect what that institution was talking about. I wasn't familiar with all of our lawsuits and all of this, and that, you know, really quickly I got it. You know, everything we say is based on not getting sued. So okay, I got that. That's a really special way of being. I don't really correspond well to it, because it turns out that it mainly is from fear, then completely from fear. So then I realized that I don't do well in those kinds of places.
Bobbie, you said earlier brave, and I'm just curious what both of you would consider bravery in producing something.
Yeah, I'm really upset that I used the word. Because I've been trying not to use it lately, because I feel like it's become this whole trend of like, be brave. Be brave, I'm so brave, she's brave. You know? Because I mean, a lot of times people will come up to me and say that to me after a show, and I'm like, does that mean it was ridiculous, but good way to really put all your money into it? You know? I feel like it's something that can be, so.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a very strong word. So
Yeah.
I've definitely taken it that way, and I wonder how you guys personally handle that kind of word, and like, what does it mean to like open yourself to be free?
Yeah, I'm really sorry I said it, but I mean, I think the only way I can explain it is that, you know, you gotta.
Oh, I thought you were still going. I don't know if I think that way. I don't know. I think if there's something that you have to do, you have to do it, and that's it. Like there's just.
But then it's interesting because when you have to do it, it's not being brave. It's just you got to do it. And so I guess being brave means you're scared of it, scared of something, right? And then you overcome it and you do it. So that's why it's like when someone says you're so brave, it's like, but I wasn't scared.
Right.
There was no fear
Right.
involved here. Actually, the only fear was not doing it.
Yeah.
But there was no fear in doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I guess if you're on your what is this? If I feel that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then I know I'm okay. And now I'll jump into my musical version of myself, which happens all the time. No, there was never a B. There was never like a B side. I only had the A. I only had A. So it's scary as hell at times, and it feels good too.
I mean, I met you, and the word that instantly came to my head was fearless. Like, that's what I've been thinking. I've been trying this whole time to like come up with a question about fearlessness in artistry, and you said it yourself, lack of fear. And I guess what I'm wondering is that something that you're just born with? Are you born as an artist with this innate sense of fearlessness, or is that something that you developed within yourself or grown to know with yourself or become comfortable with while finding who you are and coming into your sense of worth that you talked about earlier, become comfortable? Or were you born with this and you
I certainly had no idea I was going to become this. I mean, I was really busy doing a lot of drugs with purple hair and shaving my head and like doing all kinds of other things. And I just wanted to copy some people. I just wanted to be cool. And I followed them to this conservatory, and I knew I had to audition to get in, and I knew I could do stuff, and I just tried it. And it wasn't until I remember it my whole life, the moment I felt this thing, and it felt so amazing. So it was quite selfish. I felt amazing. And at the same time, I was with a lot of other people feeling amazing, and that had my hair was up for a reason that wasn't just me. There was a we thing going on, and then at the exact same time, there was also this communication thing going on. I don't think I would even have been capable of verbalizing it. There was a relationship with other people, seeing it as well, and you could tell that we all had the same goosebumps, and I was just like, that's what I want to do with life. I want to feel like that all the time. And then it led to what it is leading me through. And I think my parents just really encouraged me to fail a lot, and to learn, and to just, I mean, I was very supported to search stuff out. Very appreciative for that too. And I think going back to institution, I'm sorry, Bobbie, I'm just like doing a little. The best part of the institution is that all I want to do is send that elevator back down. I tear easily, people. Okay.
I think that I've never thought of myself as being fearless. I know that I've always wildly gone with my heart. And for love. And I think to be able to hear your heart and to hear your guts and to be able to listen takes a lot of yielding and takes a lot of surrendering, and then you still hear it, and you go with your heart. You do what you love. And like I've always, like it's always been like kind of a motto of mine. It's like if you do what you love, and it will set you free. And if you really do it, like put all your cards in and you work. It's not like, oh, I love it. I mean, and also the ripple thing. It's like, imagine if everyone in the world did what they loved. Oh, I'm fucking lucky.
Man.
You know? And like, take the brakes off and go. Something like that?
Yeah.
That sound okay?
Yeah.
This is harkening a little bit back to choreographing with cause in mind and your own mind. I guess I'm just wondering if you've ever made work that was like entirely self-indulgent, that's just like because I want to, because like I want to explore this thing, because I want to say this thing or feel this thing. I guess how do you like, do you feel any kind of guilt about that? Like a selfishness that's involved in using your art for yourself instead of for the world? And like how do you deal with that?
I've recently had a realization that I have this weird thing that before a show, because I usually always perform my own work, but before a show, it's like the last thing I want to do. And I don't want to do it. And that feels more selfish and self-indulgent than actually doing it. And so then I'm like, Bobbie, get out of your own way and do what you said you'd do. So I've been having an interesting thing with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's one and the same for me. I'm only doing what I want to do, and it's also partaking in something that's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
It's also why sometimes I might almost miss a payment on something. That's when I feel guilty. That's when I get angry. That's when I'm like, I could have been more responsible and should have demanded more, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that goes back to the hats in a way, you know. And then it goes back to the self-worth, et cetera, you know. But that's the only time I feel guilty, when I realize I mismanaged something and I should have taken better care of myself. They're quiet. I think
Oh,
G
one more?
has one.
To communicate.
To communicate with the audience? Oh. I don't know if I think of them in terms of like responsibility or anything like that, but I do, maybe I'll approach it like this. I feel that I'm successful or that I've done right if I feel that we've all felt we've been a part of something special. Then no matter what, it was the right choice, or it was, I did my best. I think of it like that. Yeah.
Do you mean more like as like when I'm performing, or when like what I hope my work actually says, or both? I mean, I think performance is so amazing in that way, that it's a shared ritual, and it's just shared experience. And anytime people gather, like you said, it's creating magic. And what I hope people take away from, say, I mean, each piece is different also, what I'm trying to pass along, but in most pieces that I have, it's trying to separate our idea of weight and effort and burden. I mean, and sorry, I'll get it right. Effort, and to separate it from this idea that it's connected to burden. That it's actually, effort comes in many different ways, and many different colors, and it's not only connected to the weight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.